If you cannot admit that Shai is just flat out one of the greatest scorers of all time and like is like legitimately in GOAT scoring conversation.
He might be, and I do not say this lightly. This is going to sound crazy coming out of my mouth. He might be the second best scorer of all time. He might be the guy. I hope anyone listening to this is in a unanimous agreement that Michael Jordan is the GOAT scorer. But after that, I think Shai's in the conversation, and I think it's because he's reached this level of inevitability of just the way he imposes himself on games. It's very Michael Jordan-esque. And you and I have had discussions about like why certain coverages don't work with him, like the fact that you cannot send double teams, like what the Lakers did against KD, for example. You hard double, and KD's going to get rid of the ball. And that's playing into the hands of the scheme. Shai is going to navigate the double team with a live dribble or attack in the opposite direction or attack fast. He's going to beat the double team. You zone up. He has now seen all of the looks. He knows how to process them. He's going to get to looks over the top. He's going to find those gaps. He's going to make all of the right passing reads while never turning the ball over. And I watched pretty much every possession of this Suns Thunder series over the last couple days. There was a game in this series where the Suns' defensive game plan, you're familiar with the late double team strategy, right? Where a player gets into his attack, you come with a late double. The Suns. So if Shai was at the top of the key, they did the matchup zone. It was basically a 3-2 where they would box off the paint, like elbows and blocks, and then usually it was Oso Ighodaro actually at the top of the zone, showing some size, showing some length to Shai on the ball. And so if Shai was on the top of the key, that was how they set up their zone. It was like a 3-2 kind of, almost a box and one at times. If Shai got the ball on the wing, or in general, if he looked for a ball screen, the Suns were trying to ice the ball screen. They were pushing him to the sideline, pushing him away from the middle, which generally is a coverage built to get Shai to make the shovel pass to Hartenstein, right? Like, we want the ball out of your hands. We're going to push you to the sideline, keep you away from the middle, make somebody else make a decision. If Shai got baseline, they didn't come with a late double, Sean. They came with a late triple. It was a late triple team. They would send a double from the top of the key and a double from the baseline. The low man would come over, and they would trap Shai on the block with 3 defenders and say, we want anybody else to beat us. Do you know what Shai's stat line was in this game, Sean?
Is this game 3?
This is game 3. He had 42 points on 83% shooting. He became just the 5th player in NBA history with a playoff game of 40 points on 80% shooting. And I think the first since Dirk in 2011. Post-game interview, game 3, Jordan Ott says, we tried everything. We tried different matchups. We tried different schemes. He had us spinning. That's what he said after the game. Game 4, there was another adjustment. They moved Dylan Brooks onto Shai, and they say, we are going to do full court ball denial. We want you face guarding Shai. Do not let him touch the ball in any scenario. Make somebody else beat us. And then when he does get the ball, we're going to continue to zone up and send late triples. So this added wrinkle of, yes, we're going to send everything to Shai, but also we're going to deny him the ball full court. You know what Shai's stat line was? 31 points and 8 assists on 71% true shooting. That's the level of player we're talking about. We are talking about a team sending triple teams, zones, denying the ball, and he finishes this series averaging 36 points per 75 on 68% true shooting. I can't stress enough how good of an offensive player this is. The OKC, by the way, in his minutes, 130 offensive rating. Phoenix was a top 10 defense in the league and looked like 5th graders trying to stop Shai. That's all I've got. That's all I've got for you. That's it. He is at a level right now offensively that very few players can even talk about approaching. It's insane.
And this is one of the best teams of all time. But I think the bigger takeaway on this series and on OKC is their half-court offensive rating against what was a top 10 defense was 112.2. They were 18 points in the half-court better than league average. Mind you, if we go just back to last season in the playoffs, Oklahoma City's offense was in the half-court in the playoffs 96.8. So they are now, what's that, 16 points better than the own version of themselves? It's pretty simple, honestly. One, Shai's just, again, one of the greatest scorers of all time. But, I mean, outside of that even, like, Chet is legitimately just a mismatch problem that can knock down the 3, play off the catch, and get downhill, make decisions. You know, eye hard on the glass or as a 2-man game operator. It sucks that J-Dub got hurt because J-Dub was awesome when he was out there with his playmaking, his downhill slashing ability through 2 games in this series. J-Dub averaged nearly 5 rim attempts per game and wasn't missing at the rim ever, while also contributing in the mid-range game and being a 3-level scorer. AJ Mitchell is a secondary ball handler, just stepping right in, and he had game 3 where he chucked and didn't shoot the ball well, but the threat of AJ Mitchell scoring, they shot the ball well enough in that series. But Isaiah Joe is an elite 3-point shooter. AJ Mitchell shot 45% from 3 in this series. J-Dub was shooting the ball well. Chet shot almost 40% from 3 in that series. So on top of all the, other role player nonsense, Shai just breaks analytics because a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 2-point jump shot is mathematically literally the equivalent. It's actually better than a 40% 3, which is absurd. If you're like, oh man, analytics is ruining the game, there needs to be more mid-range jump shots. Dude, Shai is breaking analytics in a playoff series and being one of the greatest 2-point just scorers in general. And going back to your last year video, again, go watch it. He just gets all the easy stuff too because he's elite in transition on top of all the half-court stuff. So, God forbid Shai has a bad half-court offensive game. He's still not going to turn the ball over, and he's going to be elite in transition, and he's going to get to the foul line. So, Shai and Chet is one of the best offensive engines and defensive anchors we've seen. I'm just gonna say in recent memory, it's them and then Steph and Draymond in the past decade.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everything we just talked about with Shai boosting them to a 112 half-court offensive rating, a 130 offensive rating. By the way, they had a 128 offensive rating in the series, and they shot below their season average from 3. So it's not even shooting luck. It's just they're just that good. They shot 61% on 2-pointers. All of that is secondary to their defense still. They're still the best defense of all time relative to era. That's just the added bonus with this OKC team, I guess. They're going to force turnovers. They're pretty flawless. I mean, there's nothing that needs to be said about OKC's defense that we haven't already said on pretty much every episode we've talked about them. They're just absurdly versatile. I think OKC is the favorite to win a title if J-Dub doesn't play another game in these playoffs.
They've been my favorite all year, and they were without J-Dub granted, we've been talking about them getting J-Dub back the entire time, but yeah, with J-Dub at 70%, without J-Dub, I think they're just the best team in the league. I think they've been the best team in the league all year.
That's what it is, and it's
there's only one team I think that has a chance to beat OKC. I'm very clearly at that point. That's the only team.
I think Shai has just leveled up as a processor, as a decision maker, as a shot maker. Even he made 50% of his mid-range shots in that series against Phoenix. And it was all difficult mid-range jumpers, nothing easy. I think he can do enough offensive floor raising to that's really not a problem anymore. I think in a San Antonio series, Shai is just going to get his game off. He's going to be just fine. And they're going to get stops. And so I just think Shai has leveled up to this echelon of all-time great offensive players, which he was already an all-time great offensive player last year. And he's probably 2 tiers up right now from where he was at last year. He's just a completely different player. Remember the last 3 games of the Denver series where it was Shai solved the zone? That's how I feel with Shai every game now. It's ooh, Shai solved, he solved basketball. That's what he solved. There's nothing you can do to limit him. He's you can't deny the ball, you can't zone up, you can't double, you can't bother him with length, physicality, quickness. It doesn't matter. He's just going to get his game off. He's going to impose himself on every game. It's insane stuff. It's absolutely absurd stuff. And you brought up Chet's offensive leap. He's been awesome, and he's, like you said, a big mismatch problem. AJ Mitchell's been awesome. Isaiah Joe, like you said, not only can shoot the 3, but can also defend. They didn't even have to go to Jared McCain at all, and probably won't for most of the playoffs. That's kind of just stashed for their future. OKC's nasty.